Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Maybe not so happy Friday after the Dorian Moore's announcement last night, but welcome into the best damn pod in the land. I'm your co host, Chad Stryker. With me, as always, Dan Divjek. Don't forget, it's July 5th. So don't forget to hit the smash the like and subscribe button, punch it, hit it, like it, whatever. Dan, how are you, man? I think I never know what to say with that.
No, you got to go ahead and smash that like button, right? Every little thing helps the algorithm. The likes help it, the subscriptions help it, and then the comments really help it.
Yep.
Each individual comment, helps it. And
even if you hate us,
multiple shorter comments are better than one longer comment. So
yep.
I usually make fun of people that text in, 7 successive text messages instead of just one, and you get that notification 7 times, and it's like it always happens at an inopportune time, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you don't like what we have to say or you disagree, let us know. I mean, there's been a couple people that I've actually been appreciative of, like, they're like, hey, this is what this is. Because, information changes rapidly. And if you guys don't know, like, we pre-record. So sometimes, like, something will happen even while we're recording. And we're like, oh, well, we didn't know because we were recording. And it happens to Chuck too. I know we laugh about it a little bit. So, yeah, don't be afraid to leave a comment. And if we don't write you back, we're not doing it on purpose. Like, we both have lives and kids and stuff and work and all that stuff. So sometimes things just get busy.
We'll get to it eventually.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm still replying to comments from the show that we did with Chef about Will Howard from Kansas State. We're still getting people catching that later on because so many people have watched it. Like last I looked, it was over 8,000 views or something and like tons of comments. And so that is what you're talking about with the algorithm. The more people like it or dislike it and the more comments we get, the more people see it. So, So we appreciate all of you. All that to say, we appreciate all of you. So I let off the show. I let the cat out of the bag. If you didn't already know, Dorian Moore, Dan, I am really upset. Like, I may not show it on my face, but I was really pissed off at Pete Thamel last night because he pulled a straight Steve Wiltfong and released that information an hour too early.
3 guys did.
Yeah, I know. I saw
Thamel, ESPN, and the Oregonian.
I've never heard of the last one.
That's their like Cleveland Plain dealer. It's a newspaper that's now online.
Well, probably nobody reads it or watches it or has ever heard of it unless you live there. You know how badly I wanted Dorian Moore in this class. I know that it's not over, like they haven't signed the national letter of intent or anything yet. But it felt like to me when he just decided he was going to commit, something happened in the background. And I would say that something, has to do with finances. I don't know about you, but like that, I don't want to say this. I'm just going to say other people, especially, and Dan, like, you can tell me who it was. I can't remember quite who it was. Basically said they're going to, Dorian Moore was going to go to the highest bidder. Is that accurate? Am I?
Yeah. So, and let's preface this by something, right? Because it's going to be very easy for people to say, are you, as Ohio State fans, complaining about people paying people? And that's legit, man. Like, right? It's we're paying folks, but I can tell you this: I feel comfortable saying that there are 1 or 2 programs in particular who seem to be doing it in an irresponsible manner. And let me explain what I mean by that. Like, you see a lot of tweets online like, oh, well, we didn't get this guy. We didn't get this guy. That means we got more money for that guy. Right. Well, that's not the way it works, right? If you got 3 guys getting offers, and I'm just throwing out rough numbers. Let's say you got 3 guys and you're offering them each $1 million. And 2 of those guys go elsewhere. You're not just going to go and offer the other guy $3 million and reset the market, right? And that's what seems to be happening in Oregon. My information is that Moore was going to go to the highest bidder of those 4 schools. He felt that he could thrive anywhere. and
That's fair.
that the money was going to dictate where he went. My sources tell me that his offer was in the 1.3 to 1.5 million dollar range at Oregon. Okay. Now, here's some perspective. JJ Smith got $1 million. So that's what I mean by resetting the market.
Yeah.
And that's where this is going to get really, really dangerous. And there's going to need to be some guardrails, because Ohio State could have paid him that if they wanted to, but
certainly
they're trying to be somewhat responsible, you know? And then if you heard Justin Hill's interview after, his announcement, he made reference to there being a last minute NIL offer that was just outrageous from someone else other than Alabama. And my understanding is that was Oregon. So, it is what it is. They got Uncle Phil's, wallet over there. The guy's 86 years old, and he's probably hell-bent on winning a title before he goes 6 feet under. More power to him, man. That's the game right now, man. There are no guardrails. There are no rules. There are no limitations. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. I will go ahead and provide information.
Yeah.
But, we didn't need to go and spend that kind of money on a receiver.
No. And I wanted to elaborate on something you said too. So if we have 3 guys and we're offering them each $1 million, and let's just say it's defensive backs, you still need 3 defensive backs. So you can't go give one guy $3 million and then not give the other guys anything, because that's not how it's going to play out. So it's super bummed about the Dorian Moore thing. I really, for whatever reason, he was my guy in this class for receivers. And I'm sure that a lot of people felt that way. But I do think they're going to get back in on Dalen McCutcheon now. So we'll see.
I mean, Vernell Brown and Jamie French are still floating around out there, I wouldn't be shocked if we didn't end up landing Vernell Brown.
I really thought he was really heavy into Florida, but
it could flip. It changes with the wind. It changes with the wind, sort of like crystal ball predictions.
Yeah, kind of. Well, that's a good. I'm going to stop right there. I think you and I need to talk about this. I didn't put it in our notes, but I want to rail on this a minute. I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, and based on Twitter, and some other folks. And Dan, you and I talked about this, and that we were on a rant about it. The Steve Wiltfong, come on, man. I know he's not going to see this. I don't care if he sees it, but man, switching your crystal ball pick 5 minutes before a kid commits, and just to keep your accuracy percentage higher. Why? Just be wrong. Let the kid have his moment. Just be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Ask my wife.
Well, I'm not always right, but I am never wrong. Yeah, bro. This is new to me. I've never really followed it this closely until I got involved with this year. I always followed recruiting, but I never paid attention to all that other crap. It's incredibly frustrating. I wish I could do that in real life. I want to be able to do that in my job, right? Screw up 7 times and then finally figure it out and say, here, perfect. I'm perfect. Yeah. You look at Wilfong's accuracy rating, it's 95 or 96%. That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
He had Henry Fanuku crystal ball to us, switched it to Texas Tech after his OV.
Yeah.
And then caught wind that he was going to Missouri at the last second, switched it over, and counted that as an accurate prediction.
Right. Well, last year,
I wish the lottery office would let me play my lottery tickets like that.
Right. Gosh. I think what started this snowball for me last year was the Marquise Lightfoot recruitment. I don't know if you followed that, but he had been crystal balled to us forever. Kid out of the Midwest. And then they found out that he was going to go to Miami less than 5 minutes before his commitment time. and Wiltfong did the same thing, and then everybody knew, and the kid ruined his kid. It's just, why are you stealing an 18-year-old, 17-year-old kid's moment for your accuracy rating? I don't get it. I hate it. It bugs me.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happened yesterday, and this is our public service announcement: if you follow Andrew Smith, stop. Just stop, guys. Ohio State fans, just stop. I immediately messaged, so Dan messaged me. I immediately messaged Berm. Berm confirmed that he's a troll and he has nothing to do with him. Same, and then it came out later too, about 5 minutes after that happened, that who was it that from Rivals?
Andrew Friedman from
Andrew
Rivals
Friedman from Rivals
said this guy doesn't work at Rivals.
Yes. So if you're listening to us at all, and I'll probably clip this again, Dan, just stop following him, please. Follow Bill Kurlick, follow Berm. If you feel like it, I guess follow Wiltfong, but don't, just be careful what information you're putting out there. I know it's Twitter, but man, if you get it wrong, people are going to let you know, man. Yeah. So, and he will block you if you call him out. So Dan and I are proud members.
I never even called him out on one of his posts, and I got blocked because I commented on somebody else's post.
Yeah, we are proud members of the Blocked by Andrew Smith Club, and I have been for almost a full year now. So
I have yet to block anyone on Twitter.
I mute them,
except for the porn bots.
Yeah, I will do. I do
that. As soon as I get a follow from one of them, I go in and block it.
Yeah.
But I won't give anybody. There's a few people in our own fan base, man, that I would love to block.
Well, I do have one, and you know who it is, and so does Jack. So and we're not going to say them, but there is one person in our fan base that is permanently blocked, and I will never unblock them, even if they beg. And they probably could care less, because it's not like we're, working for the podcast daily or something. But, so not a great week recruiting, man. Andrew Stargell commits to UCF. We lose to Dorian Moore to Oregon. Justin Hill, commits to Bama. And I want to do a little thing on Justin Hill, and I put this on Twitter, and this is something you already knew, and I think you knew this about me. I was concerned the entire time of the Justin Hill commitment. I thought we could get him. He's an Ohio kid. I really believed like we could, work some magic and get him here, but I was concerned that they couldn't. We don't have the Jack on film at Ohio State. We had to go, like, if he was meeting with Knowles, he had to go back to like the days of Oklahoma State. And it's hard to sell a kid on a vision that isn't like he can't see. And you and I talked about that. Like, that's tough. Like, that's tough. That's a tough sell. Like, you're in sales, like, hey, I have this great product, but you can't see it yet. And we know it, but we're going to have it. So I don't know how you feel about that, but it was just something that like always stuck in the back of my mind. And I tweeted that out after his commitment.
Well, here's the deal. I agree with what you just said. Now, there's ways around it.
Mm-hmm.
The position was used extensively at Oklahoma State. It's not uncommon for a coaching staff to come in to a program, and while they're still new, show film from where they were before as to what their scheme looks like when they're recruiting somebody. And my understanding is that the staff successfully managed to do that.
Okay.
About 2 weeks ago, the story goes that Larry Johnson started to talk to Justin Hill and make references about how he could be the next Chase Young.
Mm.
And that started to cause pause because Justin Hill is the exact opposite of what Chase Young was. He is not Chase Young.
No.
Okay. Now, do I think there's a way to have used some Chase Young film and said, here, he's essentially being used as a jack. Like we used to move Chase around the line. He would line up over the guard in the center sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
He stood up. I mean, it had similarities, but that's not what Larry Johnson was referencing. Like he was talking about him being a hand in the ground, going
No,
at the
that's not who
quarterback
Justin
type of
Hill
a
is.
thing.
Yeah.
And that's not who Justin Hill is. And he made it very clear. And the staff intentionally stayed away from any of types of comparisons like that over the last 2 years that they've been recruiting him, because they knew that was a sensitive subject for him. So for Larry to go and start talking to him about that, and this came from a family member on the Justin Hill side. This is the feedback that somebody I trust received as to what turned the tides. Yeah. Okay. And so this goes back to, there's a much bigger problem here, and it's the Larry Johnson and Jim Knowles dynamic. I mean, there's a clip out there of Larry Johnson being asked about the jack position, and him immediately shutting down the questioning and say that's position is coached by the linebackers. He does not want to take his guys off the field. And I don't understand it. Like, I talked to my brother about this. He goes, how in the world can Ryan Day let that go? Like, that's negligent.
Yeah.
And it is. And it's still part of Ryan Day being a young coach. Larry Johnson has been coaching that position the exact same way, his position group, for 30 years. He's in the twilight of his career. He doesn't want to change. And we're paying a defensive coordinator over $2 million a year that can't really run his entire scheme.
Right.
That's a problem, man.
That's
a problem. Now, with all of that being said, if Justin Hill wants to go to Alabama, good luck, brother.
Well,
more power to you. We're going to keep recruiting him to the end, but I'm not this woe is us, the world is falling. You know, Miss Sanchez put out a tweet like, y'all are more worried about kids that don't want to be here and than the ones that do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just the cesspool of our fan base and of every fan base. You know, it's the recency thing and everything else like that. But like, dude, we have the number 1 and the number 2 cornerback in the country. We're fine.
Yeah. Oh no, we're good. We're good. I'm not, again, I just was saying like three players that I think, well, besides Stargell, I think Ohio State was, I'm certainly, in the Dorian Moore sweepstakes. We were certainly leading in the Justin Hill sweepstakes. And there's a long time, I keep saying a long time between now and National Signing Day. I mean, if they can actually put stuff on film, they're going to keep recruiting Justin Hill. But the other thing that I know they're not the same player, so just leave it at that. But, the smoke around Riley Pettyjohn seems to be real with Riley Pettyjohn to Ohio State. James Laurinaitis, like, why would you not want to play for a 3-time All-American, going to be a NFL Hall of Famer at some point? Like, why would you not, want to play?
He'll be in the Hall?
I think he will eventually. I mean, Howie Long's in the Hall of Fame, so I don't know.
I'm not sure that's apples to apples, but
yeah, well, I don't know. It's just the first person that I thought really didn't make sense in the Hall of Fame came into my mind. So
Howie Long was a dominant defensive end for a long time.
He was fine, whatever. I don't know. Maybe he won't be a Hall of Famer, but he was a hell of a football player. James Laurinaitis was, and
he will be a college football Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
hands down.
He's in the Ring of Honor.
He's on the ballot for the first time this year in the College Hall.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you look at what the criteria is for the College Football Hall of Fame, if he's not a first ballot selection, then they're playing games.
Yeah. Something popped in my head I wanted to mention, Dan. So one of the comments on our YouTube last week was about me like mentioning my tweets or reading our Twitter. What I took from it is they didn't know how to find us. So our pod is at TBDPITL, at the best damn pod in the land. Dan's is at iShark8. Mine is at Strike Dog. So if you're looking for us, that's how you find us. I actually have those links to us on our YouTube channel too. So like at the top, it's in the information. So if you're looking for us, that's how you can find us. If you're upset that you're like, why are they talking about Twitter? That's where we spend a lot of our time putting our information out there. Cause not like Facebook and Instagram, people use it. But a lot of the recruits and recruiting information is on Twitter. So if you're wondering why we reference it so much, that's why.
Well, actually, what that guy was complaining about was that you read one of your tweets verbatim, word for word, on the show.
Oh,
That's literally what he was complaining. Like, he's a knucklehead. He actually apologized, but then he went and deleted the apology.
oh,
Like, I can't find I saw it show up as a notification,
yeah.
and then when I went to go to the comment section, it wasn't there. So, I mean, dude, get over yourself. I mean,
Oh, I just thought that he said if we don't know how to. I thought it said if we don't know how to find you or
no.
find the tweet.
He said it was a pet peeve of his for people to read their own tweets word for word on a podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was adding context to why we were talking about what we were talking about.
No,
but
no,
all right.
he was being a knucklehead. He's the same guy that said Juck was our daddy.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
I mean,
Duck's good people, man. Yeah, whatever. You know, I'm too old to let that stuff bother me, man. That's the reason I don't argue with strangers on the internet, man. I've been around too long. It's too much going on. All right, so how you feeling about Petty John?
I feel really, really good about Petty John. I mean, listen, I do think it's down to us in USC.
I agree with you 100%.
I do think USC is doing what other people have suggested happens, which is not good business, and they might be paying him a little bit more than they normally would to get him because they've lost almost an entire defensive recruits. I mean, it's bad who they've lost. Here's the deal. I'm going to wish the young man good luck wherever he goes.
Yep.
But, man, Lincoln Riley, I know he's hired an impressive defensive staff, okay? But he's changed defensive staffs before.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where he's been, his defense has been absolutely atrocious.
Yep.
No matter what school, no matter what defensive coordinator, there's one common link there. It's Lincoln Riley. Okay? I mean, if you're a quarterback and you want to be a Heisman candidate and a high first round, if not first overall draft pick, Lincoln Riley's your man. But if you're a defensive player, I mean, there's just no track record there.
No, there's not.
And it's going to take more than one kid to change that. So, you know, I'm going to be watching it closely. I mean, I really do think that it's ours to lose.
Texas insiders certainly think that they're out of it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, A&M is lurking, you know, but I think it's ours to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. I like our chances. I'd put, you know, like if I don't do crystal balls, like I jokingly do them sometimes, but I'd put us at like
starting a magic 8-ball.
Okay. Yeah.
Bit.
So, I mean, I think we lead for him right now, but not by a lot. I'll say it like that. So we you know, we have some other commitments coming up, but I think he's the one I'm paying the most attention to until we get to David Sanders. And I wanted to ask you, with the loss of Stargell to UCF, are we like, is David Sanders it? Like, are we done then? Or you think they're going to try and maybe add one person late, you know, an Austin Saraveld kind of?
I think Javon McFadden's still out there to be had. I mean, he's apparently down to us, Maryland, and is it something obscure like USC or something like that?
I feel like it was really odd. I don't think it was USC either. I think it was super weird. But yeah, us, Maryland, and
like it's not somebody I'm worried about.
No,
it was something weird.
Was it LSU?
I don't think so. That would worry me.
Okay.
It was something odd.
Yeah. I can look it up.
But like, you know, they wanted him to commit already. And he said, listen, I'm not ready to shut it down. And so I'm not going to commit yet. So my understanding is he's got the green light to commit. You know, Juck made a good point in our text group.
Oh, it's Penn State.
Oh yeah. Maryland, Penn State, and us. Okay.
Actually, Maryland's not in it anymore. It's Ohio State. Oh yeah, they are. Ohio State, Penn State, Virginia Tech is the oddball, and Maryland.
Okay. Well, he's from out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we've got two guys. We have a 5-star in Carter Lowe, and we have, you know,
Jake Cook.
an Ohio kid in Jake Cook. I mean, we need more than that.
Yeah.
Now, to Juck's point, this next year's O-line class is loaded.
Absolutely loaded.
I mean, there are
Even
four
in
guys. There
Ohio.
are
Yeah.
four guys in Ohio that are looking like top 100 guys. A couple of them could be 5 stars. I mean, it's absolutely loaded on the offensive line. I haven't checked. I would hope every single one of those kids have an offer already.
Yeah. Well, don't forget we have Deontay and Devontae Armstrong already in the fold.
Yeah, we do, and a lot of people have kind of poo-pooed on that because they weren't highly rated, but they were.
Wasn't Devontae a 4-star tackle?
They were both 3 stars.
Okay.
One of them may have got a 4th star from one of the agencies, but they're a perfect example of kids that were born and raised Ohio State fans, didn't do the camp circuit, didn't do all that crap to, play the game and get more stars and more ratings, and didn't give the time of day to a lot of the recruiting guys. I mean, you know how I feel about the recruiting services, especially when it comes to guys like that. I like them a lot. I understand what you're saying. I really like Ian Moore a lot. I mean, I think we've got 3 legitimate future starters in last year's class. I just feel like we need more.
Yeah, I do too. I'm with you. Okay. I actually I'll be honest, I completely forgot about Javon McFadden because I just assumed he was going to be in the class.
Yeah.
Because we had like a 8 out of 10 for him for the crystal balls.
You've mentioned Stargell a couple times now. Like, that one just baffles me, man. I mean, that kid was so high on Ohio State, and the word is that Ohio State looked at him and Jay Cook as the same player.
Yeah.
And that they had told Stargell that he had the green light to commit if he wanted to, and Stargell said, "I'm waiting until my birthday," or the 4th, or whenever it was. I don't get it. I mean, Stargell is a true center. I mean, he's only 6'3", so he's going to have to move inside. Cook is, they've recruited him as a center, but I think he can kick out the guard very easily. So I don't know why you don't take another guy like Stargell. I mean, the kid he's cut from the same mold as Jake Cook, in the sense that, I mean, he'll chew nails. He had 71 knockdowns last year, and he played it at the highest level in Georgia. Played at Roswell High School, the same high school as Steel Chambers.
Yeah,
that's good. That's the highest level of football out there. So that one, I can see us maybe trying to get back in on that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, and there may be another individual or two that pops up. You just never know. Senior tape, can happen in. It wouldn't be the first time. You are dealing with 16 and 17-year-old kids whose bodies rapidly change. Sometimes between a junior and a senior year. Some kids develop earlier. It just happens. But okay, yeah, cool.
Hey, can we talk about Oregon really quick?
Go for it, man.
That's the flavor of the moment. It's really interesting if you dig into Oregon's recruiting class. It looks a lot like what Ohio State gets criticized for, which is we load up on the talent positions and we neglect the trenches. But they've obviously made a huge splash here recently with the signing of. I mean, they got Brew, they got Moore, they got the defensive lineman Sharma, and then they got somebody else that was Brandon Finney.
Finney, yes.
But when you look at what they've done in the trenches, I mean, they've got a top 150 guy on the defensive line. That's Sharma, I think, and then they've got like a just outside the top 200 guy on the offensive line, and then the other 2 people they have, one on each side of the ball, they're not even nationally ranked. Like they're like top 50 at their position group. So they, they're wanting to be splashy, and that's Dan Lanning's MO, right? Like he takes risks. He's a big play guy, big, picture kind of guy, flashy and all that other kind of stuff. So it's interesting to see how they're building their roster.
I brought up the Tim Walton Fireworks Friday quote for us, Dan. So the best math you can learn is how to calculate the future cost of your current decisions. And he says the problem is you don't find out until the future that your math wasn't mathing. Don't let the money get you. So is that directed at Oregon?
That came out on the heels of more recruiting or committing to Oregon. He also sent something out on the heels of Brew.
Yeah. I
That
think I have that one. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and put that one out too.
Let me grab it. That's Fireworks Friday.
And more or less said some people don't want the Heat to compete.
It's coming up. Just give me a second.
So,
here it is.
The OG is, he likes to preach.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tell the Truth Thursday. What I come to realize is everybody don't really want that smoke. They say they do, but they don't. Some do, some don't. Some will, some won't.
Preach, OG.
Yeah, man. He's letting it rip, man.
And you know what? When I hear that, it gets me so excited about Sanchez and Offord. And Delaney.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those guys want to be the best, and they understand that in order to be the best, you have to compete against the best. And that's just not on Saturdays. Right? That's not
during the week too, man.
It's during the week too, every day in practice. One of the things Dorian Moore said in his hour-long presser yesterday before he made his commitment was, how competitive it was at Ohio State. When he went there, it's the first thing he noticed is that everything was a competition. Those guys competed against each other in practice day in and day out. That's how you get developed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to blaze your own trail and be the guy and the only guy, then, now him and Brew could come back and say, well, we're going to be going against each other for the next 3 to 4 years in practice. So it is best on best. And, they're not necessarily wrong, but
no,
it's not best on best the way it is at a place like Ohio State or Georgia or Alabama yet.
Yeah. I think it's important. Dan, I want to end the show with this. That D. Sanchez quote you said to me and shared with me about where our worries are. Maybe you could just share that with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, she basically said that y'all are more worried about kids that don't want to be here while, discounting the ones that do. Or it was more or less like, you're worried about kids that, from Ohio that don't want to stay there more than you are about kids who do.
Yeah.
And she, in capital letters, she said, we still coming.
Yeah.
And I just replied back to her and I said, hey, those of us that are halfway intelligent just want the best of the best, no matter where they're from. And she said, I'm just reading the room. And I said, well, skip over the folks that are only offering cliff notes.
Yeah.
Don't read the short stories. Pay attention to the ones that know it, know what we've got in his son or her son and their son and, Offord and Delane and Stewart, I think is a baller.
Yeah. I personally, we want the guys that want to be here, and people that understand and follow football, and have been doing it a long time. I've been following recruiting a long time, and that's why I have my, annual announcement that some people just shouldn't follow recruiting. And it's true though, man. Like the way people get mad, like a kid either wants to be here or he doesn't. And the landscape has shifted the last 2 years, 3 years with NIL, sure. But like Ohio State, even as much as I love them, they're not going to get all 32 5-stars every year. It just isn't going to happen. It's a pipe dream. And if you think that should happen, you're more of a homer than I am. But I'm going to leave it there, man. All right, Dan, any last words, man? I know you're headed out on vacation.
Yeah, we're heading to the beach tomorrow morning. We're getting out bright and early. Emily's little sister will be here this evening, flying down from Syracuse area. We'll be in the 30A part of the Florida Panhandle down at Seacrest and Rosemary Beach. So I'll be recording from there next Tuesday and Friday, and looking forward to it.
All right, sweet. Yeah, I'm off, but I'm just spending time with the family. So I was off Wednesday, Thursday today, and Monday just needed a little breather, man. Feeling like a burning a candle at 3 different ends with our show, with work, and with the fam. So and baseball. It finally, so it's been June, May, and June were long months in our household. So yeah, feel you. Well, enjoy your trip. I'm excited to see how much more tan you get.
I will be more of a red by the time we shoot on Tuesday.
All right. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you guys have a good week. Dan, we did not manage to get to Wisconsin's football schedule again this week.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Maybe we'll just do a show of like 3 or 4 schedules, and until I guess Tuesday when we get Dan live from the beach. You guys have a good weekend. Don't blow your fingers off. Don't drink and play with fireworks. Stay safe, and as always, go Bucks.
Go Bucks.